Live from the Grand Hotel, you are watching coverage of the Mackinac Policy Conference from One Detroit. I am Zoe Clark, Political Director at Michigan Radio. Earlier today, I spoke with three leaders on mobility and the workforce. Trevor Lauer is president and COO of DTE Energy, of DTE Electric, of DTE Energy. Lisa Lunsford, co-founder and CEO of GS3, and Carla Walker-Miller, founder and CEO of Walker-Miller Energy Services. Great to have you all here.
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for taking the time. So we're talking so much about labor shortages, workforce development, training, innovation this week. I'm really excited to talk to you three within the prism of infrastructure, future of EVs, equitable development. Carla, I want to start with you. Do we have the proper workforce in Michigan right now for these jobs of the future that we've been talking about this week?
We have the right people, but we don't have the right workforce. So there's so much training available, so much that needs to be done. But these are jobs, the jobs of today are jobs of the future. So people have not been trained to maintain EV charging stations, install EV charging stations. There are not enough energy auditors. Our Next Energy is doing battery cell manufacturing. Where are the experienced battery cell manufacturers? There are none because the industries are so new. So we are on the precipice of creating the right workforce with the right people here in Michigan.
So what is it going to take to do that?
It's going to take a lot of good training to be scaled and elevated. One of the most exciting things for me is that there are groups of people training, but they're training 10s and 20s and 100s. And we need hundreds and thousands in some cases to be trained in order to serve the needs of the clean energy industry.
Lisa, you testified at a House committee 2 years ago about labor shortages.
Yeah.
2 years ago. 2 years later, is the message the same?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much the same. And so we're still working with it, working through it, the best we can. And I think, because it's not the power of and, right? It's all of us. And so when we talk about, that's my competitive advantage. I've heard certain people say, hiring people, being able to train up the workforce, that's my competitive advantage. No, it's not. It's all of us. We all have to come together and set up these types of training programs that gives everyone a pool of resources, because not everybody that I train necessarily wants to work for me, but maybe they want to work for Carla, maybe they want to work for DTE, and the folks coming from DTE, I can certainly use them, but there's a commonality, there's a common footprint that we all need to start with. Maybe it's the math skills and we bring the math up. We're talking about technology. What does technology really look like? When we talk about it, everybody talks about software coding. It's not just software coding. We have technology in everything that we touch. When I look at the automobile, I look at it like an iPhone. It is what Steve Jobs said. I didn't create the phone, right? I created the playground that everybody wants to be on. So now we have energy coming into it, energy in a different way. We're looking at wireless, we're looking at the charging. The thing I'm excited about is looking forward and saying, how can my car talk to the next car, and having all these different elements that come together to make that happen.
Because it's going to.
It's going to. It's upon us, right?
Yeah.
Everybody says it's here. Whether I like it or not, it's here. I just love the smell of exhaust in the morning, so I'm sorry.
There's not much of that, though, on Mackinac Island.
No.
The smell of horses in the morning.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
Not the same.
No, it's not.
Trevor, one of the sessions this week is, are industry and consumers prepared for the electric revolution?
Well, it's coming, so I think industry has to be prepared. And I want to go back to your first questions around workforce, right? So what Lisa was talking about is we have to have a growth mindset. We have to all think about how we get this workforce ready together, because it's going to be a strategic advantage for Michigan and all of the companies in Michigan. Our ecostructure, our ecosystem will all benefit as we work on this together. So we got to work on workforce together and make sure that we're all benefiting from that. Yeah. And then when I think about the grid, we spend a lot of time talking about, is our grid ready for electrification? The good thing is it's not all coming at once. And what we see is the majority of people that are charging their cars today, 82% in our service territory, do it in their own homes. But then it goes into, well, how do you make sure that charging and electrification is equitable across the whole service territory? I think that's where we need to work with partners like these two to make sure that how do you put charging into the low-income communities or the rental communities to make sure that they also have access to electric vehicles?
Well, and this goes to this question about, is it equitable? Right? Is this electric future equitable? So what kind of work needs to be done? You're talking about it and thinking about it.
Yeah.
What are those next steps?
So at DTE, we will file what we call a transportation electrification plan, and we're doing a lot of stakeholder analysis with everybody right now, trying to figure out what's the right place for DTE to play in that. Look, for people that want to install chargers, if you install private chargers in somebody's home, well, there's a market for that, and there's a reason companies do that because they see profit market installing chargers in the public areas for people to charge, low income areas, rental areas. Right now, that's not a profitable market. So what we're trying to figure out at DTE is where should we play, where should we partner, and what's that look like for the whole ecosystem so we move vehicle charging forward.
Carla, I know DTE and Walker Miller have opened an academy to train Detroiters to do home energy upgrades. Tell me about this work and what that looks like in the city.
It's some of the most important work to facilitate the electrification, the clean energy economy. And energy audit really is a roadmap, and it helps people understand what to do to make their homes and buildings more efficient. And right now, we spend a lot of money doing the wrong thing. But I think there are fewer than 60 certified energy auditors who are authorized to do federal work right now in the state of Michigan. So with this academy, we're going to put about 40 auditors this year and probably 80 next year. And we are hiring them, training them from Detroit. And when we talk about the power of the clean energy industry is still a very white male industry, but every home in every community needs to be retrofitted. So we have to make sure we're inviting everyone into the industry so that we can retrofit our own communities and drive equity.
And Lisa, this goes back again to this idea of creating this next workforce.
Yes, it does. And so, my thing is that as Trevor mentioned, as Carla mentioned, the academy, how does this work? The strategy, how does this work? Because you can't look at it in silos anymore. Everything is cross-pollinating. So we have to come up with the best solution. When we're talking to the kids, talking to high schoolers is one thing, right? But when you give the parents the knowledge, the information so that they will know how to guide their little ones, it's a lot better because now they know the questions to ask and they know where to tell their children, oh, you need to go here, you need to go there. Right now, they really don't know that. And I think that is a missing piece, is that we're not having the parents in the discussion, But the kids, they got an idea, but they really don't have an idea, so they're still trying to figure that out. They look at it and say, what can I do there? But they don't see the creativity because the industry is so young. The industry is young every year to me because we're always doing something where we're turning a commodity into a new innovation. So we need that new way of thinking, those new ideas, and we have to have an environment in which they can do that. So kudos to you two.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love, this is a new environment. We literally are normalizing clean energy, and we are also normalizing equity.
Yeah.
In the governor's My Healthy Climate Plan, equity is in it 17 times. And that means that every department really should be thinking about how to drive equity as they create the plan, which in the past, equity, if even a thought, has been kind of shoehorned in the back end with the program. Yeah. Now it's a critical element to how the state should be planning. And it's already part of how we are all planning.
Yes.
Yeah, because, I'm sorry, Trevor.
No,
go ahead.
Please.
No, I was just saying, what is the end result, right? What is it that you're trying to get to? Let's start there and build from there, so then it's not an afterthought. It's not a shoehorn.
Right. Well, and we're so fortunate to have great partners at DTE. And one of the things we're trying to work our way through now is to focus even more of our energy efficiency programs on the customers that most need that help right now. So as you talk about equity, it's the one thing that just strikes me that we can continue to double down on because we're investing a lot of funds to help a lot of different customers, but we need to make sure we keep an equitable view not only towards electrification, but also as we build out the grid and do other items, we need to make sure we bring clean energy to all of our customers, not just a segment of them.
So we are up here at this conference, more than 1,000 folks who are in it right now over these 3 days and talking about it and excited and discussing it. But who are the stakeholders that need to be at the table the 362 days of the rest of the year when this isn't super top of mind? And are those folks talking to each other as we all head back down 75 South? Trevor, I'll start with you.
Well, my sense is all those stakeholders are here, and it's government, it's business, and it's all the foundations that help drive development and change within the communities that we have the pleasure to live and serve in. So I think the people are here, and these conversations are happening. Look, the administration that we have under Governor Whitmer is driving these discussions, and the agencies and the agency leaders that she have are driving these discussions. You also have great partners where all the partners are having these discussions. Our ecosystem has gone from one where we used to have this scarcity mindset, where I had to win and you had to lose. Now we all know we need to win together. So I think it'll naturally continue to evolve as we go.
Yeah,
I agree. Were you gonna say?
No.
I
just saying,
agree. My one concern always is not everyone can make it to Mackinac to have these conversations, and there's so many community people, and part of our job is to make sure their voices are heard. And when we go back home, the most important thing we can do is really dig in and listen to the communities. I heard a saying a few months ago that it just sticks with me, and it's do not speak for people you don't speak to. And in order to drive equity, a lot of people up here are going to have to speak to people that they've never spoken to, so that they're planning based on realities and not based on what they think the communities need.
Lisa?
Yeah. Oh, well, I agree. The stakeholders, when we're talking about stakeholders, everybody is a stakeholder, right? And you have to be intentional about what it is that you want to do. And if you're not intentional, as you say, if you're not speaking to the people, that's very hard to do. So, but my biggest want is that if we are going to move into this new energy, this new ecosystem, this new economy, we have to have the government to invest. We need investment. You could sit back and say, okay, private industry is going to make this happen, but it doesn't happen without the government partnering with the private sector to make it a go. So we have to execute. We could talk all day long and we could feel good, because we all feel good when we're here. Then we get home and about a week later, we're like, what? I forgot, because we get into the daily grind. But we have to execute on these things that we all agree to. And it's not just one leader, it's all of us leading. We all have to come to the table. I should be able to call Trevor and just say, hey, you remember what you said on that? Okay, well, I'm going to call you up. I want to expand that a little bit more. So I think that's key for us to do. So.
Well, I look forward to hearing next year about those conversations. Again, the 362 days of the year when everybody is not up here. Trevor, Lisa, Carla, thank you so much for the time and the work that you're all doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.